0. Also, transmittance should be 0. Then 100% absorb all sun radiation come to this film. That's no reflection, no transmission. Then became all energy in the film. So that's our concept, how to design, because metal is very high reflectance. Then if you add some dielectrical layer or some other layer, then become very low reflectance. Transmission is no problem, because if the film quite thick, light cannot go through this film. Then if absorptance depends on your, how to match optical constant with thickness. If you match it very well, you can get very high absorptance. So we can. So this is our 4-layer structure. That's we can get the solid to heat conversion rate more than 90%. The paper published a few years ago. So that's for the energy, solar energy radiation spectrum. You can see very wide, but for the silicon solar cell, usually we're not higher than 50% conversion to the electricity. Yeah, all energy is the last, the west. If you solar cell to the under this device, more than 80% energy actually convert to the heat, not convert to electricity. So, but for this one, convert to the heat, not to electricity, can more than 90%. We do some simulation calculation, then can change the thickness of the critical layer. Then what will happen? You can see all very stable. That's around the 10 nanometer the thickness. That's all absorptance is very high, nearly equal to 100%. But here have some dip. Yeah, dip is about less than, if wavelength less than 400 nanometer, they have a dip there. We try to solve this problem recently. We're thinking we can get also improve this range. Our simulation for more material. We are changing the material for this in not for substrate for this layer. Yeah, that's transient. We studied use different material. All similar results, very stable. That's we can chromium, titanium, cobalt, that's nickel, that's tungsten, that's also palladium, some other kind of material. Some is good, some not very good. So we are mainly try to use 2 kind of material. The chromium and titanium, that's 2 kind of material very good. But titanium is easy to oxidize. This is more stable. Yeah. Also, we try to use different dielectrical material to see what will happen. We choose different material. That's glass, silicon oxide. That's also BK7 glass. That's other kind of materials to simulation, and not change so much. Then this is a typical structure we are using. In the substrate, thick metal layer, 100 nanometer for aluminum. Then next layer for silicon oxide, 80 nanometer. Then for chromium, 10 nanometer. Then top layer, that's anti-reflection layer. So we can see that the wavelength from about 400 nanometer to actually here we'll go down. But this range in the solar energy spectral range is very high, but in the infrared range will go down. That's the reflection also will go down. That go up. Yeah. So transmission still keeps 0 because the metal is quite thick. That's the property is very important. That's if reflection in the infrared range go up, then of course the emittance will go down. The value lower. So this is some more. I mentioned we not only have to get a very high absorption, also have very low thermal emittance. Emittance equation is calculated by this equation. That's reflectance 1 minus reflectivity. Just have to calculate. Yeah, we can got a different degree, incident degree. Then from temperature change, if we still to very hot temperature, 600 Kelvin, 0 degree can see that's very low thermal emittance. So that's satisfied the idea. That's for the ideal device for the solar to heat conversion device. Then gradually we will increase if the incident angle is increased. That's our chamber. We have the sputtering chamber because the layer quite thin. We have grown the layer very slowly. Have controlled the thickness by the calibration in advance. That's then layer by layer. That's can control the layer thickness. Label system. One is for the IF sputtering, another for magneton sputtering system. Two kind of we have 3 heads inside. Can change the. Then can see the section ESM section. That's this metal layer. That's also this very thin metal layer. That's dielectrical layer. That's also another top anti-refraction layer. So that's four layers. We measured and then measured fit the simulation data very well. The experiment calculation and experiment data, all is in agreement value to each other. Absorption more than 90%. Then change it. If we change the incident angle, also measured. If incident angle increase, that's the absorption will decrease. Yeah, that's the way. But if we not very large, that's in the range 35 degree, almost the same. That's very higher. That's experiment data. That's the data simulation. That's also we are changing the incident angle. See what's the wavelength range. Usually, solar energy range not so wide. That's actually to 400 to 1,000 nanometer in the infrared range. That's the transient method. We use the transient method to see the experiment data. That's the simulation data to compare to each other. Different layer thickness. Best one is about 10 nanometer. Yeah. It's also change it with the dielectric film. Not very sensitive. Most sensitive is in the middle of the transient metal layer. That's very sensitive for the thickness. That's not very sensitive. Yeah, that's the analysis for thermal property of structure. We are trying to measure the heat the temperature. This material is quite stable. If sometimes in the room temperature data is okay, that if we change the temperature, sometimes we are not so good. We change the color or some change. But for this material, we are see if we are annealing until the temperature to 6,000 degrees C, still for 6 hours in the room, still in the chamber, we can see that all optical properties are quite very stable. So this means this material have very high stability. Yeah, that's annealing or unannealing the data. That's the material quite black. I bring the special sample to here. You can see. Yeah, this is a small sample. This one side is metal. That's very bright. Another side is yeah, that's black. Only four layer can achieve. That's totally black. Not texture, not semiconductor. That is black silicon. Yes, that's black matter. Yeah. So that's we are continue to try to improve right now. That's I mentioned for problems here. That's in the range 200 to 400 range. This is deep substance go down. Then we try to can add some 1 or 2 layers on the top. Then can not change this part of the spectral properties. We can increase this absorption here. We are try to really achieve this results very soon. Yes, yeah. Third part is the photon to electron conversion. Also is very important. It's, we are see the photon solar to electron conversion. Actually, solar spectrum is very wide. At the traditional first, second generation of silicon-based solar cell, that's the conversion efficiency for amorphous to polycrystal not very high, only 8 to 15%. Because you cannot get the whole range of this solar energy, only very narrow range. If below the energy gap, you cannot get energy, cannot convert to electricity. Above the energy gap, that's for something that like silicon, that's not a direct band structure. Efficiency not very high. So how to realize for more than 40% conversion, we call the third generation of solar cell conversion. That's in trade right now around the world. In 2004, this company, the shop, they are announced for their multi-junction solar cell can achieve the conversion efficiency about 39%, more than 39%. Yeah, that's quite high. Then a few years later, another company also announced for new record 41.1% is multiple junction. That's a device. One PN junction you cannot convert whole this solar energy to the electricity because one material only covered a very narrow range. Should have at least 3. Now have more than 3. Yeah. Another record that's 41.6%. Use three color material, but still very difficult. So the race on the world is very quick. Yeah, that's target try to reach to 45%. Yeah, 45%. But a few years ago, they expect will achieve, but still not achieve. Only maybe in the experiment in the lab, cannot become the commercial product right now because a lot of problem. So 3D junction is technology is solved. That's how about for 4 junction, 5 junction? That's very difficult because material cannot made in the nature. That's usually very high the lattice mismatch for the device. So also cost for the device is very high. So you can see that this picture. In last 60 years, from 1940 to 200, that's 40, all the efficiency were not over the 30%. No matter you how work hard or how you use what kind of material, one junction, one material, you cannot over this the line. First generation or second generation, you cannot design or made the device over 30%. So only over 30% you have used called the third generation. Use the 3 to 5 multiple junction material. That's the direct energy gap, very high efficient. So this is not very clear. Why? That's because semiconductor, that's high efficient semiconductor, that's Below the energy gap, no conversion, 0. Above, only very narrow range, efficiency very high, more than 70% can achieve. But above the gap, that's also we have some combination loss of carry. We decrease the conversion energy efficiency, the conversion efficiency. So one junction is not enough. You should put 1, 2, 3, maybe more. But the problem is for the natural, we cannot have natural material can match all of them. Yeah, you have the lattice mismatch cause the defect in the material, in the device. So also a very high cost of a material. When the junction is larger than 4, this is very difficult. Also, another problem is for the heat. Because you want to reduce the cost, you have to reduce the area. When area is smaller and smaller, you have to concentrate the light to a very small energy area. The device become very hot. Temperature increase. When temperature increase, efficiency go down. So then you have to cooling the device. Cooling device costs other energy. Yeah, you have to make the system quite complicated. So that's a material problem, also device problem, also system problem. Still have tried to industry should solve the problem. That's a theoretical calculation. If we want to get the efficiency for how many junctions you have to use, if we use more,